Hey guys, it has been a minute. I'm actually filming this one before I filmed my 2024 Summer Olympic Readathon announcement video. So for me, this is the first video I filmed in many weeks. But here we are. I have been in a reading slump, in a life slump. It's just been slumpy over here. But I have some books that I hauled a few months back and I never had a chance to haul them for you, so here they are. Let's go through them. So I don't usually go through any kind of order. I will say most of my books come from the thrift store. I did have a birthday over this time, so I got some birthday presents. And I actually bought a book from Amazon because Lindsay at BFCG was hyping this book up and was saying that the author was no longer going to be having it available for some reason. I'm not really sure the backstory behind it, but this book was not going to be available anymore, and Lindsay really loved it. And when Lindsay hypes the book up, you just need to get it. So I was highly influenced, and I'm looking forward to this. I don't know really anything about it. Trying to see if any of the back, I don't think I've read any of the back books that have been blurbed here, but Jenna Therese, Ignite. This is apparently meant to be a duology, but the author still has yet to write the second one, so it's a bit of a risk to go into it, but because Lindsay said it was so good, I just needed to read this one. So I actually got this one. It was a really good price on Amazon, and I don't know if maybe that's why it was a good price, because she was selling out of the last of her stock or something. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Then I'll go through some of my birthday presents. I won't mention who got me what, just because I know how it feels to see people get gifts from friends when you are friends with both parties and maybe you didn't get a present for your birthday or something. I know how that feels, so I just don't want to, make anybody feel like they've been left out or excluded. So that's why I don't share who I got these gifts from, but rest assured, I have thanked everybody profusely for their lovely gifts. Where's Halmoni? This is such a great middle grade children's picture book because, children's picture book. It's not middle grade. So anyway, this book, you actually learn Korean through this book, and it's beautiful. The illustrations are lovely, and the story is really cute. These two kids, they can't find their Halmoni, who's their grandma. So you can see, let me show you how this book works. Okay, so for example, here, this fox creature is saying something, but if you don't know the Korean language, you don't know what they're saying. However, at the back, there's like a glossary that shows you the image of, like, if you look for this exact pose from this character, you can find here. They said, ha ha ha, you deserve that. So that's what she's saying there, which I think is a really, really neat way to learn a language. And I just love this book. Next up is Lumen by J.J. Fisher. This is book 2 in the Nightingale trilogy. I really loved book 1. I have read Lumen. I really enjoyed it. Not as much as book 1, but I digress. It's a good series so far, and Memoria, the third book, is coming out soon, so I'll be reading that one as well. So definitely recommend this Christian fantasy. Then we have Beneath the Forsaken City, which is book 2 of The Song of Shira by Carla Laureano. This is Christian, like medieval Scottish Irish vibes, fantasy as well, and I love this series. It is only a duology, I think. I can't recall if there's a third book. But anyway, I have the first one, now I have the second one. Also, I do have Kalor, so stack's looking great already. Then I got Resistance by J.L. Knight. You guys know Celestria here on BookTube loves this series, and I have needed to get to this book for so long. So yeah, finally I have a copy of the first book, which I'm so excited about. I really, 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 really want to read this one because of how much she's hyped it. Recorder by Kathy McCrum. This is Christian sci-fi. This is a newer series. I believe they're still publishing the series. This one has been very well received in the Christian community as of late, so I am excited to read this one too. I do love science fiction, so add that Christian element in there. I'm very intrigued. Then we have The Sleuth of Blackfriars Lane by Michelle Grebe. I've read the first book of this series, and fun fact, I'm currently rereading the first book so that I can continue the series and get to finishing it. I do love Michelle Grebe's books overall. She's a Christian author. I do feel like sometimes she abuses God's name, so I'm a little confused with that, but I've been noticing the more I read Christian fiction, it's not that uncommon to have a Christian author like use some of that language in their books, which really like confuses me. But I like her storytelling. I like her sentence structures and like the atmosphere that she delivers. Yeah, so I do like this series. Then I've got The Captive Kingdom, Jennifer A. Nielsen. This is book 5, I think. Book 4. There is 5 books in this series, so I think I'm now only missing 1, which is pretty good. I love this series. Oh, I love this series. It is mainstream YA, I will say. I like it. Fantasy. It's a good time. It's a good time. Lots of people like to leave it at book 3 because I think originally it was a trilogy, and then the author, I don't know if she just got more ideas or if the publisher wanted her to continue. I don't know what the story is there, but she did continue with 2 more books. So a lot of people like just ending it at book 3, but I actually like the full 5. So here we are. I've got a bunch of vintage books on board from a friend. So we've got this, oh, love this. J.R.R. Tolkien's Architect of Middle-earth. So yeah, I obviously haven't read it yet, but super jazzed. I love anything Tolkien. Add to my collection. I got a couple editions of Hind's Feet on High Places by Hannah Hurnard, which is one of my favorite books. Love that book. I got a vintage edition of The Fellowship of the Ring. You know, it's all good. If you get Tolkien, it's a good time. And then Pilgrim's Progress. I am collecting vintage copies of Pilgrim's Progress, so this fits in nicely with my collection. And then one of my friends found this at the thrift store and texted me and asked me if I wanted it, and I was like, absolutely yes. So then she's like, okay, here's your birthday present, and I was like, okay, yes. So I got the box set, vintage box set of George MacDonald's like middle grade fairy stories. Like, what? So I currently own The Princess and the Goblin and The Princess and Curdie, which is in here. But there's also The Golden Key and Other Stories and The Lost Princess. Okay, so this obviously isn't his complete collection because he does have quite a lot more. But, like, this cute box set, vintage, and, like, in pretty good condition, like, that's beautiful. I love it. Then I found Finn the Half-Great by Theo Caldwell. I don't know anything about this, and I'm trying to do less of that, like buying books that I don't know anything about. And so far, I've done an excellent job. Like, I think I've read well over half of this stack already, so I'm doing okay. So this is a middle grade fantasy. Oh, Canadian author. Didn't even know that. There was something about it that I read that intrigued me. I don't know what it was, but here we are. I have this, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I found The Riddle by Alison, is that a C or a G? That's a C. Krogon. This is book 2 of the Book of Pelennor. So if you guys remember, when I did, here, that's handy. When I did my bookshelf tour, I can leave that linked. I mentioned this one, and one person, or was it even a couple of people? But for sure one person commented that this was a really great series and they loved it when they were a kid or teenager. So having that in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, if I see the rest of the series at the thrift store, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. So I have book 2 now as well. I found If We Survive by Andrew Clavin. This one, I was thrifting with my niece and she said her husband has this book and he likes it. So I thought, there you go, that's a recommendation. I'm going to go ahead and get it. I have other books by Andrew Clavin, but I haven't read anything from him yet. So I have that one. And I found Fusion Fire by Kathy Tyers, which is the sequel to Firebird. And I actually own Firebird, but I have not read it yet. So whenever I have that, like, I have the first book on my shelf, I have a good feeling about it. And then I find the second one at the thrift store, I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. So these 2 are Christian authors. I don't know about the Books of Pelennor. Let me know in the comments below if you know if that one is a Christian author or not. But these 2 that I just talked to you about, those ones are Christian authors. We've got Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell because I recently, oh, this cover is in rough shape, but I recently read this book and really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm glad to have this one on my shelf. It won't go on my favorite shelf or anything, but yeah, it's quite damaged. Oop. But yeah, I find Sebastian de Castell very hard to find at the thrift stores, so I'll just put tape on there. I don't love tape on book covers, but maybe I can somehow repair it from the inside so you don't see the tape on the outside. I don't know. We'll figure out a way to kind of fix it up. Okay, I found The Fatal Tree, which is book 5 in the Bright Empires by Stephen Lawhead. I love this series. I need to reread it. And I actually don't own the full series yet, so I'm still on the lookout at thrift stores for when I spot them, and I spotted it, so in my cart it went. That is Christian time travel. Then I've got Dragons of the Watch by Donita K. Paul, who is the author of Dragonspell and Dragonlight. Those are series that were pretty popular in the Christian middle grade market, I feel like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So I've never actually read anything from Donita K. Paul, but I've been curious about it, so I guess we're going to start with Dragons of the Watch. Let me know if that's a good place to start with her books. I found Honor in the Dust, a Winslow Breed novel by Gilbert Morris. You guys know I love Gilbert Morris. Basically, almost every book that he writes I enjoy. Maybe not 5-star level, but I enjoy. So I'm ready to just collect all of his stuff and read all of it. Again, a Christian author. Then I found 7 Gothic Tales by Isaac Denison. I have a different collection from Isaac Denison. There it is. It's really handy to have my bookshelf behind me, you guys. So the other collection I have is Winter's Tales. So now I have another one from the Isaac Denison collection. And if you don't know, the bookshelves behind me are unread books, so I have not read that one yet either. So hopefully I like them. Then I found a trilogy. When you find a full trilogy in decent condition at the thrift store, I mean, first of all, interested. Secondly, Christian author. So I feel like that's a pretty good bet. Which genre is this? Do I even know? I feel like it's suspense. We've got a blurb from Lynette Eason, a blurb from the editor-in-chief at the Babylon Bee, if you guys know the Babylon Bee, a blurb from Jamie Jo Wright. So hoping that this trilogy is really good. So if you know anything about the Shepherd Suspense series by Andrew Huff, let me know in the comments. I found this vintage edition of Little Men by Louisa May Alcott. I loved the TV show Little Men. I don't know if it was aired all across North America or if it was a Canadian show. I'm not sure, but I loved Little Men. And I recently watched it again for my childhood vlogs, I think last year maybe, and I still loved it. So, I've never actually read the book though, so here I have a vintage copy of Little Men. Then I have What Janie Found by Caroline B. Cooney. I've been collecting this Janie series, which starts with The Face on the Milk Carton by Caroline B. Cooney. It is middle grade, although, yeah, maybe some content is more upper middle grade. It is the mainstream market, so yeah. I've only read one from this series, but we'll see how it goes. All of the rest of my books here are Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. So I found these three, which are, unfortunately, we have Two Towers, Return of the King, and The Hobbit. So we're missing Fellowship of the Ring, which is unfortunate, but whatever. If it's not there, you can't really buy it, right? You just have to wait till you come across it another time. I've got this beautiful edition of The Hobbit. Great. I love, love, love the more vintage look. And then I've got this one of Two Towers. So just a mass market paperback of this. I've seen this edition before, and I believe I have like the big full version, but I don't have the mass markets. Then I found Tales from the Perilous Realm. So I didn't actually realize that this black edition with like the circles and stuff, I didn't realize like that there was quite a lot of his books made into this edition. So now I'm on the hunt to finish that collection. And then we have two from this edition. So I feel like I've never even seen this kind of cover art before. Like it feels almost like indie publishing to me. But yeah, we have Return of the King and Two Towers. So once again, missing some there, but these are the books that I have been hoarding, I guess, in a pile for the last number of months. Thank you to everybody who gifted me with books. It's been super lovely. I hope something can restart my reading slump. Feels like everything I'm reading I either don't like or puts me farther into a reading slump, or I'm DNFing, or I don't know. It's just not, I think my headspace is not in the right place right now for like really engaging in my books. But I hope it comes back soon because I really want to get back into it, especially because of the readathon. Again, I will leave that video because the announcement video will already be up. So I'll leave that video linked somewhere in the cards or in the description or something. So go check it out to join that readathon as well. And let me know what you think of some of these books. If you read any of them, let's just chat about books in the comments. And yeah, hopefully I can get my life slumpiness back in gear so that I can do more posting here on BookTube. I thank you guys all for being here with me, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!